Well Dan, the pressure's on.
Excellent.
You got cameras pointing at you now. Whereabouts are we today on this foggy morning?
We are in the southern tip of South Staffordshire, as far south as you get. In fact, the county boundary is that hedgerow to your left.
Oh, we're that close?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, we're on our family farm. Still in the middle of October digging potatoes because we're foolish.
What sort of acreage do you grow nowadays, Dan?
The potatoes, we grow 50 acres, which is a smaller operation than most. Family's been doing it, yeah, 30, 40 years. We were originally a completely mixed unit with dairy until 40 years ago, and then we've left the livestock completely behind with original foot and mouth, and we couldn't afford to restock, and stripped out the beef cattle for the 90s because we couldn't make a profit at it. There was no point in us losing money doing that, and we moved on to more arable business. So yeah, and that's where it's been since mid-90s. We've been through a few changes with the loss of sugar beet out of the rotation, which was then rotated, swapped into winter oilseed rape. But then we had problems with that, with it not actually keeping cereals clean enough, because we grow seed crops for agri. So the spring barley and the winter oats we grow in our rotation and all go off to be cleaned and reprocessed and packaged to grow for other people to grow. So the only actual food that we grow on this farm is the potatoes you're seeing behind you.
So what harvester are you running then?
This is a Standard T2. It's got the Omega cleaner units. It was new to us last year. We steadily update stuff when things come around at the right price, and it seems to have done us well, to be honest. It's much more complicated than anything we've had before. As you've just seen by the screen.
I was going to say that, yeah. You're not short of buttons on that screen.
No, but it is a very good harvester, as it's going and working hard, and yeah, we're in some quite muddy, well, we're in some quite soft conditions here on this light ground. It doesn't stop us so much as we just sink out of sight, and once you break through, you're either going or you're not on this ground.
Is that why you've got the spare tractor over there with a chain on it? Is it?
Yeah. We had to use that 2 days ago to pull one when we were opening up. Pull somebody out of a wet hole where it runs off a bank behind us and it's off the road.
It's just the season we're having again, unfortunately, this year.
It is. It's been 2 really odd years, to be honest. With last season's how late everything went in, and we lost yields there, and then we had the same problems a bit here with a late harvest, late yield. So, but yeah, it's just challenging, I think, with the word we're using at the moment for it to describe it. So
what harvester were you running previous to this one then?
We ran a Reiki dominant before. We don't run a particularly modern fleet by modern standards, but it all pays at the end of the day, and it all keeps working. We're lucky to have a decent local fitter that we use, and some good dealerships around us that we use for spares, and dealers like Andrew Scott for the potato stuff.
So was this harvester quite an upgrade to the previous machine then, or? Yeah,
this is a big one. The old one was just a simple control box with switches on, and none of this fancy LCD touchscreen technology. I'm going to be honest, I'm a bit wary of it because I'm not a big fan of electrics and water and mud and all the other fun things we get to play in.
Is it as complicated as it looks, Dan? Or?
It's daunting, I think is the right word, but once you get used to it and you sort of know what menus you're looking for, you end up comfortable with it and sitting into rotors, but you're not going to get full productivity out of this machine straight away, because you're going to have to take some time to familiarise yourself with it and learn what you're doing. Apparently they haven't really changed a lot on the actual harvester itself to the ones they're producing now.
Right.
So it does a very good job on taking the mud out.
So in damp conditions like this, what do you have to do as a harvester driver to ensure that most of that soil gets taken out.
The simplest thing is make sure you're only cutting what you need to with the profile, so you're not taking too much soil up, so the machine harvester's not working any harder than you have to. It sounds obvious, but a lot of people, oh, I'll just give it a bit, shall I? And they'll just drop it in a bit deeper, and then they'll end up taking too much with them, and then the harvester's just overloaded basically. With this harvester, it's because it's hydraulically adjustable from the cab, you've got no excuse to do that really, because you can adjust it constantly by the millimetre, and you can keep an eye on the gauge, on what it's actually reading down here. So you've got a lot more information than our previous harvester. Then it is just forward speed, giving it time to clear, and then setting up your rollers. You've got direction, height, agitation, you've got a step to fall, so it breaks up clods a bit, and it's just keep looking, keep fiddling with things until you find something that works, I think is my advice. No two patches of the same field are identical, because you're dealing with weed issues, and some bits are heavier, some bits have got more stone in. We've got a lot of stones here to deal with.
Everything on this machine is hydraulically driven then?
It is. There's 4 big pumps on the back, and it also takes 100 litres out the tractor to drive the roof as well. So yeah, it is quite hungry on oil, but it is all the belts, webs, rollers, elevator, height up and down, just side shift, wheel drive, just everything just takes oil.
It'll be an expensive job when the pump goes then?
We haven't had one go yet, so we'll try and avoid that. It holds 400 litres of oil, so it's quite expensive if the hose goes alone, as if it will quite happily empty that out onto the floor if you're not careful, apparently. Again, not happened to us yet. Just assume everything bad's going to happen in farming. It's just a
nice surprise when it doesn't.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's how I view it.
So talking tractors then, Dan, looks like you're a fan of your McCormicks.
We've got on really well with them, to be honest. We were always Massey as a family, because, well, everybody was. Then moved on to cases, went through a lot of those, right up to a 5140. But then 20 years ago had a barn fire. It was middle of March, we were busy planting, parked the tractor up in the shed, went in the house, reheating my lasagna or whatever it was I was eating, and I was about 2 mouthfuls in, and get a knock on the door saying the tractor's on fire in the barn. Yeah, that was the end of that. We lost 895 XL and a 956 in that one, plus our Land Rover, loads of straw, just a real fun thing to do happen in the middle of March. So we had a ring round of our usual suspect dealers around here. Nobody would get us a demonstrator out very quickly because it was the middle of March and they were all signed off. So we ended up bringing Burgess's at Shrewsbury, and they got us an MTX 110, and that never left. We ended up buying that demonstrator. That went in exchange for this 150, because we needed a bigger tractor to pull the Sumo cultivator. Yeah, and then we've just steadily upgraded, and that McCormick there is P&D's ex-demonstrator.
How has the fast track been to you?
It's been a bit of a pup, to be honest. We've had a few problems with it. We had a half shaft go on the rear axle, and we had a seal go the size of your finger in the gearbox. The bloke who bought it from has stood by it pretty well for an 07 plate machine, is that? Yeah. That's been stood, and he's actually stood by Harvey up there at Milnes. Has actually, when things have gone wrong, he's been there and he's put it right, and in my case that's actually the definition of a good dealer.
How many hours has that machine done then?
I think it's on 6,500 hours. I don't really get to see it very often, to be honest. It passes me by in the yard.
Yeah. So does that tractor mainly do trailer work then all year round? Or?
Pretty much, yeah. It runs bales around during the summer. We do a fair bit of hay for horses, but then most of the winter it's on maize into EVG.
Tell us a bit about the maize job then. How does that work on this farm?
Well, it's replaced our oilseed rape, and it's done us a real good job, to be honest, because we were having problems maintaining our seed contracts because of weed problems. So winter oilseed rape, everybody who has grown it knows what a bunch of stress that ever is. And then the numbers started changing on it, so we started looking for something else. And then at the same time started helping out my cousin, who at the time was running a Jaguar forager, and he started cutting for this EVG contract. And as time went on, we decided to get in touch with them and work out if they wanted to have our oilseed rape acreage as maize for them, and they did. What ended up happening was we took the oilseed rape out, and then while we were doing that, some of the neighbours saw, and they thought, hey, that's interesting. So now we end up running a syndicate where we pile 3,500 tonnes of maize or so at our yard, weigh it all in, weigh it all out, so everyone owns a percentage of the clamp, and then it all goes in over the space of 3 months over the winter, and we bring back the fibre digestate straight to field, which is why we went for the fast track and using the trailer.
Because you're constantly lugging all the way from here.
Yeah, I mean, we did look at lorries, and the numbers were pretty close on, but we wouldn't know what we'd use the lorry for the rest of the year, if that makes sense. We could use the fast track all year round, but also it meant the fibre digestate coming back can go straight to field and there's no handling. We take in 3,000 tonnes and probably bring back 1,200 tonnes over the cut from bonfire night roughly to Valentine's Day, and then it's all spread on fields and ready for maize again the following year, or whatever crop people want to grow in those fields. And it's very good fertiliser, especially on our light grounds here. We've done a lot of work with organics and to try and improve moisture retention on this field and all of our fields. We min-till, non-inversion. The only bit of inversion ploughing, or as you would call it, is the actual ridging bodies go through for the potatoes. That's otherwise everything else is grown grown on a min-till system.
And what about this tractor we're sat on now then, Dan?
This has been with us for quite a long time. We've put, well, it's 9.25 at the moment, so yeah. I think we had it about 1,500 hours, this tractor, so it's done a fair bit of work for us. We did ask a lot of it. It ran the Sumo for us for quite a lot of years, which is a big ask for a tractor this size. We ended up full set of extended weights on the front. We ended up ballasting the front wheels as well, just to keep the front on the floor, but it pulled it all right. This is one of those tractors that we'll be sorry to see go. If it does go, it's earned its money, and you've got to kind of, we're reaching that point now where we have to think of, do we upgrade bits on this or do we change the tractor? Because this hasn't got a creeper box, which would be handy for potato harvesting. It hasn't got front links or PTO, which again would be handy for harvesting, because I could put a front topper on here when the weed problem's bad.
So you'd quite like a Vario box for the harvesting job then, would you?
I can see the advantage of it, but if I hear another person with a Fendt that's got a Vario gearbox problem, I was interested originally when they first came around, and then you start looking into it, and then the original ones I think took 30 horsepower to drive, and when you stood next to a that old Massey 35 and think you did all the work that tractor's doing just to drive the tractor along, and then diesel went up to over £1 a litre, and it sort of killed my enthusiasm for them. I mean, I think with a power shift and splitters you can probably get enough variation with a creeper box as well that you can probably get away with it, and the few times you probably would want it, should you be going in the first place? I don't know. I would like one. I've drove 720, right, the Fendt 720 this spring. It was nice and it was quiet and it was a great tractor, but at the end of the day, I've got to make this pay at the end of the day. And the numbers have to add up, and it's all, as much as my uncle and my dad hate this, it has to be about the red and black ink at the end of the year. As much as I enjoy this job, I'm not paying to do it, and I can't see where I'm going to earn the money back that those things would cost. It's not one thing we're looking at in the near future, is the honest answer. We'll probably stick with full power shift tractors with their automatic systems on them, because they take less driving, they're a bit more efficient, they're less complicated things to go wrong. So I think that'll probably be where we stay for the time being, but never say never. One might come around at the right price and we might go that way.
So how does your digging system work then? Are you just digging spuds to each lorry order then?
Yeah, dig to order, green topping. So we get the orders to the system, speak to our merchants, and yeah, we'll dig to order. Dig the night before, day before. These ones here will be going on this afternoon's lorry, and then they'll be in the factory tonight and processed tomorrow and in a crisp packet by close of business tomorrow. So it means that we don't have to store anything.
No storage at all then?
No storage at all. We've got probably about 30 potato boxes on the farm now, and it's the system we've sort of fallen into, really. Whether we're right or wrong, I don't know. It works for us on our ground, and because we can keep going. We'll try and be finished by start of November, which again fits in well with the maize.
And what grader, etc. are you running then?
We're running a Tong Caretaker with a wash plant on it, so the lorry comes in, but they'll be washed this afternoon on site, and then they'll go on the lorry. So it's all Tong, mainly Tong equipment we have.
Would most farmers wash on site, or is that?
No, it's because we're on a crisping contract. So these potatoes will go into crisps because we're unirrigated and on light ground. We can't guarantee the size of that people would want for general wear, really. So we tend to go for crisping contracts, as the size isn't so important. In fact, they don't want the big ones, because big potato, you get 3 crisps in a 25 gram bag.
You just get a bag full of broken crisps.
Well, yeah,
no one likes a broken crisp.
No, they don't. No. Yeah, so the size, we can plant more seed close together and get the volume through tuber numbers rather than big, large potatoes.
So what variety are you growing for the crisps then?
These are Lady Rosetta. We've grown these probably for 10 years. They yield reasonably well for us. They're drought resistant, never really had a failure with them, and yeah, they seem to have a market for them, so which is the most important thing of anything you grow, is that somebody at the other end will buy the damn things off you.
Yeah. So where do you think the potato job is heading for the smaller farmers then, Dan?
I think for us, we'll stay in it for a while because we've got our own tack and we're going to stick at it. It's a very expensive job to get into. There's a lot of specialised machinery. Anybody now going into it, it's going to cost you a bit, because you've got to learn how to do it first, and what you can get away with, what you can't. My personal opinion is probably the fresh produce side of our farming is more robust than the cereal side of our future, because you talk to traders and merchants and stuff, and they talk about how cheap it is to ship stuff round by sea, and you can more easily ship grain from Argentina, Australia, Canada, America to the UK than you can ship things like potatoes. They're more fragile, more delicate, shorter shelf life. Not everybody likes salted crisps, so you're probably not going to be able to put them on an open deck bulk carrier, are you? I mean, that's not a common opinion, that's my opinion, and I think that's probably where we'll have to probably be as a smaller unit. because there'll probably be a bit more of a margin in that. Because of our location, we have managed to diversify out, so we're not a true arable farm realistically.
Which way have you diversified?
Well, we've done a few things because we're on the edge of a major town and sort of 20 odd miles from the centre of Birmingham. We're quite high population area, so we've diversified into DIY livery business that we supply the hay to, and that seems to work. We've probably diversified 60 acres into that, so we've got over the 2 units, we've probably got 50 horses, with the fewer local riding school bring round to graze during the week when they're not being used. And then this winter my wife and I put in secure dog walking field and an all-weather menage arena for people to bring their dogs to exercise and exercise their horses, because we're on light ground. It means that people can ride here all year round basically, so we take advantage of what we've got underneath our feet, to be honest, and that's why the horse business has grown, because we don't have a problem with mud in the winter as such.
Do you think that's something that, I know not everybody can do it, but do you think that's something that farmers are going to have to start looking towards, is the odd side
I think everyone should.
Income here and there?
If it's not for the very simple reason is that we all have monthly outgoings that we have to pay. It's quite nice to have monthly incomings to keep totting the money back up again. It's very easy to forget that we do spend a lot of time with our money buried in the ground until we get it back out again, and the changes that happen in prices and fluctuations in the 2 years it takes between you start spending money on a crop and get your money back, it's not always worth what you're doing, is it? And your bank manager's quite much happier to see money keep coming in rather than you just keep spending it all the time. I think if you can have a look, don't take too many chances on it, but it doesn't hurt to try these things, and even if it's just a little side earner somewhere along the line, it does make a big difference over the course of a year. Even if you're earning £100 a month and it covers the mobile phone bill or something like that, it's something else you haven't got to try and remember to save for when you're doing your annual finances, because you've sold all your crops in one point. You've got a lovely big bank balance in March or something, and then you just got to watch it tick down till the next year when you've got some money coming back in again. I think everyone's got to try and find something.
Do you think that's the way farming's going?
I think it's not just farming, I think everything's going that way. If you look at it, everyone's had to try and diversify and change things. In farming we call it for diversification. I don't know what they call it when Tesco's opened a bank, but or selling mobile phones or whatever. But yeah, I think you've got to try and keep your hands in as many pies as possible. I mean, we've done that with our farming. I mean, we used to be a mixed unit, and then we had to get we couldn't make the numbers add up properly during that 90s, so we ended up consolidating into an arable unit. I think trying to find another source of income, and you never know where it's going to come from, whether it's transport, whether it's just renting out a bit of yard space to store a few caravans, or if you've got a little coppice on the top of your farm, have a caravan and camping site for 5 pitches. Just try it. I mean, what's the harm? The other trailer's here now. Here comes the fast track.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So
I recognise that trailer.
Yeah, you do.
I think I spent many hours sat in front of that trailer.
It probably had
It was a bit taller when I drove it.
Yeah. We shortened it a bit. Yeah. As much as we'd like to try and fill a silage trailer full of potatoes, I don't think we get it out in the field afterwards. It has been interesting because we've got Well, because there's a trailer there which is 16 tonne, and we've got our own 16 tonne bailey that we use. They've both been broken down from maize now to go on to potatoes. But it's interesting seeing the difference in heavier trailers with bigger loads with the flotations on compared to the super singles that these other trailers use. And
big difference.
There is a big difference. They go better. They cut in a lot less.
You can see just the run up the field there, the difference in those tyres.
They do make a big difference, especially on the potato ground. And the fact you can see it more obviously on the potato ground, but that's still the same on every other bit of ground when you're trying to deal with compaction. They are worth the money, but we do take them off for road work during the winter. They'll both go back onto their super single lorry wheels on their 385s and for the road work, simply because it saves us a lot of money in diesel. They pull a lot easier, they're safer on the roads. I mean, the trailers of course got an ABS braking on them, but there's no point in putting a bigger tyre on than you need to.
So all in all, how is the season going this time?
It's going all right. It's been wet. We had a burst of hot weather for a week that was 40 degrees that scorched everything up and killed yields as fast as everything else, as the wet weather does. So it's not going to set anybody's record books alight, no matter what anybody says in the Farmers Weekly. I think this is becoming a more regular season than we want it to be honest. It's a new set of challenges, how wet it is, and in the spring as well as the harvest, but it seems to be getting more and more common for us, so I think that's where we are now. But we'll keep going on and we'll keep muddling through, and if we find the genius answer, I'm sure Tom will come and videotape it and share it with the world.
I'll try my best. Well, cheers for having a chat with us today anyway, Dan.
Yeah, anytime, it's good to see you again.
We'll leave you in peace now and let you concentrate.
So I'm just going to put Fat Boy Slim on really loud and try and have
turn your music back on now. Yeah.
I don't really get a content strike from my random music
yeah, copyright, yeah. Oh dear. No, cheers for having a chat, and we'll see you again soon.
Yeah, no worries. Cheers.